All right, so in this video, I will talk about why system prompts are very important in AI agents. Well, system prompt essentially is one of the message that the model sees, and the two common message that you might have heard of are agent. I mean, let's say, yeah, agent, we could say agent message, or this could be model message or AI message, whatever. So this is basically the model's response. And we have a user message, right? This is the in this context, there's two entities that is interacting with each other, user and AI message. The AI model, the agent, is responsible, useful, truthful, and helpful to the user, and the user usually in this scenario usually asks a question, wants the model to do something, right? And we have on top of this, there is a message called system prompt or system message, which defines the behavior of the AI model completely. It's very important to lead the model to a direction that you want to. And in this video, we will see different scenarios where we define the system prompt properly the way that we want it to, and we will compare that to a general system prompt, something like you're a helpful assistant. And we will look at this from different perspectives. And these are identity. Well, we can give the model the correct identity. Usually what you will see, we will also look at this, the models have an identity, but they don't even know what it is. So usually, for example, the Chinese models, because they are trained with the Claude code by Anthropic a lot, especially the ones that claim to be a good coder, they would usually tell you they are Claude. For example, we will take a look at the Kimi K2.5. When you ask it, what are you? What model are you? Which is I mean, that's my first question usually when I interact with the model, because I want to know actually I'm using the correct model, right? Uh, or I have configured the settings correctly, the model ID, because usually when you use a different coding environment, you don't even know. Just to make sure if everything working correctly, I would use what model are you? And if you use that as a like just direct API call to Kimi K2.5, you will get I am Claude by Anthropic, which is funny because that's not the case, but because it has been trained by millions of data by the interactions that happen in Claude code, it tells you it is Claude code. But what we can do is in system prompt, we can tell the model you are Kimi K2.5 by Moonshot, and you're this model. You have this identity. From that on, when the user asks, what model are you? The model would know I am K2.5, right? I'm Kimi K2.5. So this is the first point. And the second point is, well, we can give the model a role. We can tell it, you know what, you are a tutor for me, which I use a lot. We can tell you are a good butcher. You know, you understand the meat a lot. You're a perfect butcher. You're I don't know. You spend half of your time, half of your life in what's the country? In I don't know, Australia. I know that in Australia they got good beefs. Or I can't remember this country's name. The South America, Argentina, yeah, Argentina or Brazil, whatever. So we can give the model a lot of like information. We can give that character fully, right? So you have spent your time, like half of your time in this Argentina. You work with the best butchers in the world. You know a lot about meat. You know a lot about this. We can tell it you are a good reviewer. You're the best when it comes to code review. You're executor, your tutor, and so on. So we can really tell the model what it is as a role wise. And you get really good answers if you do so. And we can define the tools. I mean, this is going to be like a little bit about the AI agents because when you define an agent, you want them. you want to give the best tools. For example, Bash, right? So we can the model can write Bash code, like terminal code. It can read files, write files, change, I don't know, go to this path, uh, change the settings of this file, and so on. So we can define the tools, but the model doesn't know inherently what tools it has. And system prompt is a great place for this to define. We can have, and another scenario we're going to look at, I mean, I won't cover all of them, but the code snippet that I will share, or the codes, the folder that I will share in GitHub, you will see all of them. You can have all of them. You can take a look at all of them. So the output contract. So we can tell the model that we want you to output in this format, in this JSON format. I want the ID, I want the name, I want the surname. When I ask you something, always output like this. So what kind of possibilities that allows us to is we can have deterministic answers, right? So what we can do is we can save that data because it's going to be always answering like that. Obviously, there has to be some, I mean, these are not 100% deterministics. I don't want to comment on that, but usually you get to have that type of output. So it's not going to give you a text, but it's going to give you a JSON file. Or it's not going to give you a regular undeterministic answer, but it will give you actually three subtitles, right? The introduction, middle, and the final subtitles. And it will always output you in that format. So you can force the model in a specific format, and the model will always give you that, and that will allow you to parse the output of the model better. And we can have uncertain, like we will look at this system prompt from the uncertainty point of view. What does that mean? Well, I mean, these models are very hallucinating, right? So we can specifically very emphasize in the system prompt that if you don't know, tell you don't know. Like just tell me you don't know. You don't have to make it up. If this doesn't exist in your memory or in your training data, you don't have to make this up. So we will take a look at that as well. Let's now actually take a look at the Visual Studio Code where we will analyze this. I will just drag this here. And we will take a look at this from the identity that I mentioned. So let's actually take a look at this. So this is a basic, like it has agent loop, it has tools that it can call. I created like simple syntax for us to experiment with this. We have a basic agent loop where the model goes into decides to call tools, and till all the tools are done being called and the answer being put into the context, it keeps calling tools. It's just the agent loop. I wanted this to be more complete where we can interact with in the terminal. Um, so this is where we will look at this. So I'll comment this out for now. So for first, we will have a basic system prompt. And this system prompt is your helpful AI system, right? It's very basic. And here we define that, right? So in the model call, where is it? The client here, we just define, sorry, the system prompt here. So the role is system. This is a specific system message that every client defines. So that's why we had to give it here in this format. So let's now call this. Let me make sure I'm in the correct path. UV run Python 01 identity.py. And I will ask, what are you? What model are you? Right? What model are you? Okay. Okay, it's interesting. You got it correct. Why? Because I didn't save the file. That's crazy. Okay, I will save the file and close again. I was surprised. It shouldn't work like that. What model are you? But we saw. Okay, I'll do it again. That's fine. Okay, it got correct, which is surprising because I mean this is not like. Okay, I'll try it again. try this a lot. Always, okay, what model are you? Maybe the way that we define the temperature. Yes, now it says claw. So initially it got it correct actually, which was surprising. But now it says like it's claw, right? So it's not deterministic. It doesn't. It's not. Sometimes it will say claw. Sometimes it will say Kimmy. It's just different data it has been trained on. So most of the time it will say it's cloud. So for this now, comment out this prompt and specifically tell the model your Kimi K2.5, right? I'll save that, make sure that's okay. And let's again, actually let me zoom in. Wait a second, let me zoom in here so that we can see properly. But what model are you? What model are you? I got it perfectly correct because I mean because we're specifically using Kimi K2.5 Turbo. It's a faster version of Kimi K2.5 by 5 rows. Uh, as you can see, we have given the model the identity that it needs to have. Let's try it again so that we know it works every time. What model are you? Okay, like we get very simple answer. This time it didn't really emphasize, initially it didn't emphasize the moonshot AI. Now it chose to emphasize it with the bolt. Okay, so we got it, right? So that's the point. That was the first point that we talked about already, identity. Let's now also like quite like curious about uncertainty because this is very like this is a part that you don't want the model to mess up, right? You don't want the model to lie to you. Let's take a look at this now. So basically, again, we will have this two scenario where one is simple system prompt, the other one is detailed system prompt. This is the detailed system prompt, and we got normal system prompt. It has access to tools, tool calls, dash, right, your helpful AI assistant, and so on, right? So let's call this now. UE run Python 05 uncertainty the py. Okay, so this actually I will just copy paste this. What were the results of Project Orion in 2027? Something made up, right? Let's see what it answers. I'm wondering. Okay, let's see if it's gonna make up something or it will actually tell us it doesn't know about this. Okay, so it says that it doesn't have any information about this. The program information by events that have already occurred, been documented. I don't know, maybe this is correct actually. It says something. Okay, so it didn't really like respond in the way that we expect it to do. I'll ask another thing now. So I feel like it nailed that. It didn't really give us bullshit data, bullshit information. Tell me about the latest experimental feature. But like I feel like that it wouldn't be able to say it doesn't know about what we are talking about with no context given. Okay, maybe like we can say, let me try to trick this. Okay. Honestly, I don't know. Maybe if we said this, okay, let's say it this way, not 2070, 2027, but let's say 2000, just 2000. Let's see if it will be able to actually tell us the way that it got it initially. I'm wondering. Okay, I don't have specific information about Project Orion results in 2000. Could you clarify the project we're referring to? Okay, still got it very well. To be honest, I have to be very much surprised with this. But let's try the same prompt with the uncertainty rules. It still tells us some stuff. I don't know if this is correct. I will later check this out if this information is correct or not. But I can assume that it has to be okay information. Let's try the same prompt with this extra instructions. Let's see how it goes. Now we are specifically saying that if you don't know something, clearly state, I don't know, I don't have this information. If a question is ambiguous, ask clarifying questions first. So again, this point, you got it correct. So it's asking clarifying questions, never fabricate facts, dates, or sources, distinguish between what you know and what you're inferring. It's better to say I don't know than to be wrong. This is also funny. Admitting uncertainty is a strength, not a weakness. This is like encouraging him to say the truth. I don't have information about. There's not much difference between this and the previous answers that we were getting. But here, extra, what we're getting is clarifying questions, right? So previously, it was also asking questions. What do you mean? What are you trying to accomplish with this question? Type of questions, right? So it was telling us, yeah, could you share more information, more details, whatever. But now it's asking like very genuine questions, like if you're asking about future events, my knowledge doesn't extend to 2027. It's funny, it does know actually what year is it in. What year are you in? What's the date? What's the date of today? This is actually another good scenario that we can try. I don't think so. It does know what today's is. Today is Friday, 10th April, 2026. Okay, I don't have a current data sense of today. It's an AI. I don't experience time or have access to real-time information, including current dates. Well, I can tell you. Okay, so it says that, okay then, let's actually get it into a hard position. How does it tell you, how can it tell you this then? How do you know you cannot extend to 2027? But like, we're not really keeping track of the, oh, wait, we do actually, wait, we do actually. But you said this. Okay, this is too annoying. This terminal is not a good place to write things. That's why I'm having a problem. Okay. Uh, I had to click. I had to get out of that. Let's try it again. This is funny. I'll ask the same question. Let's see if it will actually tell us it cannot extend to 2027. I was going to tell how can you tell this information then if you don't have any time related information? How do you know you cannot extend to 2027? But in that case, you can also comment on that because you don't know if you what year you're in, right? So let's see what it tells us. But I mean, this model is good. I think like train on this data in this type of data. If it doesn't, if you don't know what the information is, this just tell you don't know what the information is, right? I think it is trained on such data. That's why it does good job without even specifying in the system prompt. But when you specify in the system prompt, you do get more deterministic, right, answer. That is the case. Obviously, I won't be able to cover it now with the examples that I'm showcasing. Uh, I don't have this information. Okay. But this is specifically designed to test whether I'll hallucinate or admit uncertainty. Okay, this is so funny. It just understood the assignment. I mean, the test that I was running. It's just crazy because it's running in this folder. It tells me that I'm trying to check him up. That's why it's just, yeah, okay. Okay, how are we going to test this out, man? It already has information about the current data. Okay, I will check. I'll do this then. I'll do this. Okay, wait. I have an idea. I'll delete this out. Okay, what I will do, I will just put that here. Okay, so now it doesn't have any tool call. I'll try to make sure. Can you read the current files? Actually, that sentence doesn't make sense. That question is a bit awkward. It does, it can read. How? I can several files in the current form. How do you know? How do you know? How does it know? Are we okay? We are giving the tools here though. Shall command. Okay, yeah, we're giving the tools here. Wait, I have to delete this as well. Yeah, I'm giving the tools here. Okay, I'll try to do this. Try to comment this out. Let's see how it goes now. What tools do you have in your disposal? Okay, this is getting funny. I'm experimenting with this as I explain. It's a bit slow. I don't know why. I think it's because of the clients and we're not really being efficient. I don't have access to external tools. So you're telling me that you cannot read the folders and files in the current directory you're in. We just send that. I couldn't question mark there, so it cuts. Okay, it's answering, I think. It's telling us the knowledge cutoff as well. Obviously, this is a made up. We can't really trust on this, by the way, because we don't know, right? Only person that can tell us about this model is the moonshot, the research lab behind this model. The model tells us this, but we can't really rely on that because this is a basic model calling, right? So we are relying on basically the model's training, which can be very misleading. Okay, so it's an AI since I don't have external tools or whatever. So set that here. Okay, okay, system at all. When you interact with me, you're communicating with a. Okay, so perfect. Now let's ask the questions. I have took out the tool ability from the model, so it can now read the current file because if when it reads the current file, it knows we're trying to test them. It gives it gives answers accordingly, which is funny. Let's do now. Let's do this now. Let's see if it's gonna hallucinate or not. It's not gonna hallucinate because we are telling it to not to. Hopefully, and I'll try this without the system prompt. Okay, information prompt. Okay, how do you know? Okay. This is, by the way, like is again, it's a bit like vague, and so again, the model doesn't have the ability to know early to 2025. This is like made up information, basically. It could be correct, but we can't really rely on that. Should clarify what you mean. Okay, it got it correct. Let's say that it got it correct. Let's try it this way. I'll try this way. So I'll give 2000 instead of 2027. Let's see if it because it thinks that its knowledge cutoff was 2025. This is earlier, so it should know about it technically, but it doesn't know about it probably because it's a made-up project. Let's see if what it answers. I don't have specific information about Project Orion because that's from the year to this maybe because of several different Orion projects with different timelines. It always cites this NASA project. Maybe that's the correct one. Okay, it got it correct. Let's try this now with the unspecified system prompt, right? Which is just simple. So what I will do, is no. So I'll do this. Right. So okay. So now my last try, I will ask this project. Okay, let's try with 2027. Okay. Okay. If it gets, I don't know what it is writing now. Why is it so long? Maybe it's thinking about it. I think like it will fall off to the trap. It will answer. Sure. So it says like is it is as of late 2024. Initially it was mentioning about 2025. That's why I was saying that you can't rely on that. There are no actual results from that year yet. However, if you're asking about the famous project of Orient nuclear pulse, okay, it gives us some information. If you meant something else, referring to the okay, so actually it didn't really perform really bad, I will say. Okay, so let's now do this 2000. This might trick him. This might trick him because this is earlier date. Let's see if he's gonna fall off to this. Okay, we'll wait. We'll wait. Okay, I think it's thinking a lot in the background. We're not seeing those obviously. We can actually print them out as well. The client gives you those information as well, the thinking tokens. But currently we're not doing that. That's not the main focus. But that would be nice actually, but that's okay. Okay, we're waiting. We're waiting for you. Come on. Come on. I think that this means it's thinking a lot in the background. You see, like it has like huge information. Okay, it says that it is used a lot in different projects. But it gives us different projects, but it doesn't tell us it doesn't know, right? Try to like it's just tries to make it work. It just tries so hard to make it work. But when we actually specifically in the system prompt tell it that if you don't know, ask clarifying questions and say you don't know, right? We're encouraging him to tell the truth, right? Which is that he doesn't know. But when we don't say that, he has this inherent like behavior of make it work. It tries so hard to make it work. Like it's just what is this? What is this? Oh, it's the Orion project in 2000. What kind of Orion projects there exist? Oh, these are the projects. Let me show them to him. It doesn't say just like I don't know this. Let me ask clarifying questions. What project are you referring to? It's not really going to that route, but it just goes to the route of those are the projects that I know and that happened in the past. Which one is it? Right? It doesn't ask questions. It just tries to make it work. It still thinks that there's one that we're referring to. It looks for it and it provides them for us, which we didn't read these, right? In this case, I mean, probably we don't want the model to use a lot of thinking tokens because that's what it did. That's why it took a lot and it gave us a big answer because it tries so hard to make it work. It's not efficient, and the behavior we want the assistant to be when we give such vague, such ambiguous requests, we wanted to ask questions, clarifying questions. And when you define this in the system prompt, the beauty of system prompt is we can actually give a lot of nice characteristics, behavioral skills to the model so that the model behaves the way that we want to. So that was the end of this video. So thank you very much. I'll see you in the next one.